Roughly 49% of Black American women have never been married as of 2022. I found this stat in essence.com, and I'll link to the article in the video description. I wanted to make a video encouraging Black women not to give up on love. It's not about dating outside of your race, but potentially dating outside of your country. I know that I've found a lot of success. Many of my friends have found success. And I wanted to share some countries, many of them probably shocking to you, where Black women are unexpectedly finding love and also thriving in a different type of love. Maybe the type of love that you're used to or that you grew up experiencing and seeing was was familiar. And I think it's a sign of growth and evolution when you allow yourself to explore a different type of connection. So let's go ahead and get right into this list, the top 5 places where Black women are unexpectedly finding love. Number 5, talked about this country before, but Ireland. Irish men love the dark chocolate. And these countries, I mean, I'm going to say that jokingly, but these are not about fetishes. These are about down to earth, natural, easygoing love. And there's something about Irish people and Irish men where my friends who have found love there, they just say it feels easy. Like love is just easy there. The culture of, you know, whether it's Galway or Belfast or Dublin, well, Belfast is Northern Ireland. It's not about one culture or one race, being the, winners when it comes to love. But there are different cultures that take love and romance differently. And I think it's worth exploring, especially if what you have been doing and who you've been dating is not working. Sometimes we date our patterns, and if we don't evolve or heal from those patterns, we just keep dating and finding the same type of men with a different name. So I feel like Ireland will give you, it's like a genuine breath of fresh air. And transparently, when I started traveling abroad 13 years ago, I've been to 100 countries across 6 continents at this point. But Ireland was one of the first countries where I realized, oh, non-Black men like me. For some reason, I just didn't think I was attractive to white men, Asian men, Latin men. I just didn't think they were looking at me. And of course, growing up in the 90s, I also didn't see that type of love on TV in movies. So I limited my options, not knowing that they didn't limit theirs towards me. So I had lots of advances in Ireland, and it wasn't, overtly sexual. It was like, yeah, I think you're beautiful. And, can I take you out? And a very charming, easygoing type of love, I think is there to experience. So Ireland, put that on your list. Number 4, probably unexpected as well, but Turkey. Turkey is interesting because Turkey and Turkish men, I think, are on the other side where it's a little bit more of the over the top romantic gestures. So if you are someone that desires that, Turkish men take a lot of pride in whining and dialing, whining and dining, and taking care of their women. And now I'm mindful this is not a platitude to say all men act like this in any country. There are rotten men everywhere, in every culture, in every country, okay? But there is something, whether it's in the fabric of their nature, their culture, their um, just how they were raised. There's just something different in some countries. So Turkey, I found them to not be shy about whether it's coming up to you, because this is also, I think, an issue that's happening in US dating culture, is that women are now starting to feel like they need to do the approaching. Because when you think about like men, and this is what men have told me, men who are my friends, men who are family, like men who I'm close to, and I trust and believe them. They were like, Glo, it's not just, when you see someone that you really want to, you know, like shoot a specific shot at, you can't just come to her anyhow because that's your one shot and you don't want to ruin it for yourself. So you have to wait for the perfect circumstances. It has to be the right timing. You have to feel like you are in a good place in your life. You have to have a good job. You have to have a certain amount of money. And I'm like, are y'all really thinking that like we want you to come to us perfect? He's like, yeah, that's how it is. Like you don't want to miss your one shot. And the way some of them explained it is that when they're getting rejected, it's also not just that one rejection that they're thinking of. it's all the rejections since fourth grade that they've had to compound and stack on top of each other. So I will give some credit. Like, it's not easy to be a man and to constantly be rejected by women. But I think like that's the price to pay to get what you want in this world. And it's a part of like developing character, developing self-esteem, developing thicker skin, so dating is not easy. There are some ruthless people out there that will, you know, there's a meme that says the worst thing that they can say is no. And then the woman is like, you ain't this, you ain't this. I don't want to even go there. But yeah, it there can be extreme situations where you get let down really bad, but in most cases, like I have never turned a man down in a very ugly and dirty way. Like I would never, it's not in my heart. I don't know that women desire to, especially like the women that watch my channel. I'm going to assume these are intelligent women, sophisticated women, emotionally intelligent women, highly educated women. We are not out here looking to hurt men. That's not what, like, why? And so if a man is approaching us as a gentleman and he's coming with kindness and sincerity and eagerness and confidence, like we'll be honest, but we'll also, be kind. And I think that's a part of maturity. Like boys and girls, maybe it's different. Like if you had a bad experience, that was a girl. If you had a bad experience, that was a boy. But women and men are operating differently. And I think you want to like take that into consideration. So Turkish men, when they are approaching you, it's very direct. They're not going to play coy or shy about, they think you're cute or they want to take you out. It's like, what are your plans tomorrow evening? Like, can I bring you this? Can I show you that? They'll bring flowers on a first date. And again, if that's what you're into. I spoke about in another video where when I went on my intentional dating journey 3 years ago, I created some boundaries for myself only because I feel like what I was doing wasn't working. And so for me, like I just wanted to try a different strategy. So that's when I became sober. And I've been sober since, almost going on 4 years. Very proud of myself. I decided to only take and accept daytime dates. So anything sunset or later, I would decline politely. And for me, it was more about wanting to get to know their character versus confusing a romantic moment with a romantic man, because anything could seem incredible when you are having wine overlooking a sunset on a Greek island. It's just, I didn't want to keep confusing the two. I'm like, no, let me take the romance out of it and get to know you as a person. And what I realized, and again, it's not sexy, this is just my approach. I wanted a friend first. I really wanted someone that I could trust, build an authentic, organic companionship with, and then hopefully build romance on top of it. And I don't think that's a popular approach. And I don't know that that will work for everyone. But I wanted to try it because when I think about long term marriage, when I think about long term partnership, I'm not thinking about us, excuse my language, banging around the house for the next 70 years. That's in the spectrum of what y'all are going to do for the rest of your life. Hopefully that takes up a good percentage, but there's going to be a lot of unsexy moments. There's going to be a lot of health, sickness, death, loss of people around you, growth, evolution, moving, healing, personal development, business growth, business loss. There's all of these everyday, mundane, random things that just happen to you in life. So I'm looking for someone that I can do life with. The unsexiest parts of life. Who can I trust for that part? Because it's easy for anyone to show up when life is good, when it's only about making love, when it's only about going on dates. Okay, so that was how I was thinking about it. So if you are looking to be romanced, Turkish men are very good at that. Okay, number three, speaking of Greek islands, um, Greek men, I actually think they're very family oriented. And here's where it's kind of like not opposite of Turkey, but how do I say this? So Greek men, I think, are also very humble, like down to earth. They will go over the top with their romance, but the romance won't be overt, like in the Turkish way. So it'll be subtle, it'll be like a picnic, it'll be flowers, but maybe the flowers are handpicked. I feel like there's more heart and authenticity behind their actions. And I think they also do a great job of, um, let's say, the traditional masculine roles. They take pride in that. Now, you have to decide if you are wanting to do the traditional woman roles. In my situation, I don't like to cook. For a long time, I was ashamed of that, and for a couple years, I tried to give cooking, like, a good shot. I was like, "I can learn these, like, 7 basic recipes so that every day of the week," you know? But I'm also a seven-figure business owner, and if I know that I'm contributing in a way that most women aren't in a relationship, then I could also delegate, hire out, or, have a different requirement in that area. And so I'm really big on you creating your own rules for your marriage or your relationship. Take advice from other people, get inspiration from what you see working for others, but there is no one size fits all in how you go about doing it. So I think cooking together is a fun thing, maximum once a week. But the way I rationalized it for me, it's the time. I'm like, okay, you spent a couple hours cooking this food, you eat it in a few minutes, and then it's out your system in an hour. What a waste of time. Like I think about the ROI at time as a business owner and entrepreneur. And so joking but serious, So um again, with Greek men, you'd have to say, okay, do I want the traditional roles in my partnership? Is that something I'm willing to negotiate or talk through? But I find them to be very charming, very humble, and very modest in how they romance you. But it is it's so cute. It's so earnest. They have such pure intentions. And Greek families are also very close knit. So you are not marrying into just you're not just marrying the Greek man, you're marrying his entire family. And yeah, I think it's my friends who have married Greek men, they're having a lot of fun. They look to be enjoying life in Greece. And one of my favorite memories, actually, being in Greece, this was maybe like 8 years ago, but I had these like long box braids and I'm riding a bus in Athens and I just feel a little bit of a tug and like, but it's very subtle, so I'm thinking it's nothing. And so I go to do the black girl pat and I accidentally smack. This woman must have been like in her 90s. Greek women also live very long. And I'm like, I turn around, this woman got a chunk of braids in her hand, and I'm like, you know what? Let me give her, let me give her another one. And we have this very cute bonding moment where she's fascinated by my hair. And I'm just like, she ain't never been this close to black braids before. Let me give her, in her 90 years, like what a moment for her. Let me go ahead and just have this cultural exchange. So I found I always have an amazing time in Greece. I've been 8 times. I've gone with friends. I've gone during my study abroad years. It's just a beautiful country overall, and I find Greek people to have beautiful hearts. Okay, number two. This one is probably the one that I don't want to say it's obvious, but if you have seen Black women marry outside of the US, it's probably from this country, which I don't even know how to put a disclaimer. Germany. German men are they are the stabilizers. If you yourself as a Black woman you're like colorful, dynamic, maybe neurodivergent, you're all over the place. For some reason, German men love a little bit of a crazy woman. I'm not calling us crazy, but German men are like they are just the yin to your yang. They just balance you out. And my friends who have married German men, I think, okay, how do I say this diplomatically? We're going to have a continued conversation in the room. I will put a link to the room in the video description, but basically it's like my private space where I can share more of my unfiltered thoughts when it comes to these conversations. But my friends who have married German men are all very outspoken, very opinionated, and a little bit on they're not dominating, but they command a lot of presence. And their German men, they are they're having the time of their life. So I don't know what that says about their culture, but it's a great balance. And I love to see it because they're also very adored, they're taken care of, they're cherished. And something that I've always also been told by some of my spiritual mentors, when we did premarital counseling, our therapist was a Christian woman in Bali, ironically. And one thing that she told us is that like healthy love feels sometimes boring because it feels like peace. And peace isn't what we're used to if we have these turbulent or potentially traumatic childhoods that we're still healing from. So you'll find that German men bring this very grounding, stable energy and presence that is probably disorienting for you who is used to chaos. So if you are looking for someone to be the calm to your chaos, yeah, try Germany. And I think you'd be surprised by the advances that you might get. And just, I think Germany is now becoming so multicultural, very diverse. Yes, there are issues of like racism and all that kind of stuff everywhere, but don't let that turn you off. I've been to Germany how many times? Again, when I studied abroad 13 years ago, I think I've been back 6 or 7 times since. I love the Christmas markets. I love to go solo. I've worked with the German tourism board on a 2-week campaign, traveled all around the country, and my job back then was just to Snapchat. It was crazy. They paid me like 2 grand to Snapchat. It's amazing. Covered flights, hotels, food, and everything. But yeah, it's really cool to think about some of the things that you learn because something about German culture as well. And I actually had a friend who was dating a German a few months back, and she was like, actually, some of them have like the Go Dutch culture. She was like, oh yeah, I was waiting for him to pay, but he wanted to split. And she was like, oh, I don't, I'm not, I don't think I'm okay with that. And I'm like, oh, maybe that's a conversation to have. So you want to also be mindful that when you're dating outside of your culture, there are going to be differences where it's better to not assume, but just to communicate, because that absolutely can be a thing. Because countries like Germany, countries like Norway, countries like Denmark, women are very like, they rule those countries. Like Germany is a woman prime minister. So like women take up space and they dominate. So in some of those countries, it's offensive to always cover the meal. So it's not even in a chivalrous way that they're assuming that role. It's just like they have so much respect for women, or they have this idea that women don't always want to be taken care of. So you want to make sure you're having that conversation. Okay. And last but not least, number one place where Black women leaving the US are finding love is my West African brothers in Ghana. Okay. Ghana, as someone of Nigerian descent, I got to give it to Ghanaians. They are the grounded, soft spoken cousins of us. Ghanaian men tend to be a little more humble, down to earth, and approachable than Nigerian men. But my friends who have married Ghanaian men, they are happy, they are loved, they are spoiled, they are doing well, they are very grounded in their faith. One thing about West Africa, we are big God people. Okay, so God is a big part of their relationship and their marriages, and they look to be thriving, they look to be happy, and just know that when it comes to this isn't just Ghana, but just West Africa, know that in-laws and you're marrying into families as well. So families are a big part of the dynamic, but you're also very well taken care of. For example, if you have a baby, like the in-laws come and they bathe you, they take care of you, they feed you, they make sure you as a new mother are doing well. So I think, yeah, a lot of Black women are finding love in Ghana. This is not the green card marriage or the green card love. That can exist for some people, and that could be like a mutual thing. Like, to have multiple passports for both sides is probably a healthy thing right now, the way the world is going. But in Ghana, it is very much like honest, sincere, calming, healthy, beautiful Black love. And we love to see it. All right. That's all I've got. If you are a Black woman that found love outside the US, can you please share your story in the comments? I would love to hear it. And I'm sure many other women who are looking for love would also love to read it. Now, this is not to prescribe other countries as like, this will answer all of your relationship problems. Of course not. But it's worth exploring your options. It's worth being open minded. And as someone who didn't date outside of my race because I didn't think other races found me attractive, it's important that you don't block your blessings and limit your options because you just never know. It is limiting to feel like you are only allowed to be with one type of person from one type of country. And, so just explore your options. I think love is such a beautiful thing. And I hope everyone who desires it finds it at least once in this lifetime. Okay. If you want to continue this conversation, you can go here for 5 countries, no, 7 countries with the most chivalrous men in the world. And for everyone else, if you don't know, my name is Glow, and I make videos every single day. And it's a pleasure and honor to have you here. Please subscribe, like, and join the room for unfiltered conversations. All right, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye.